Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Society of Like-Minded Men. I'm your host, Ramin Kayvan, and this is your other host, Tommy Sporletter. How you doing, buddy?
Great, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Busy. We've been exceptionally busy, taking care of customers and making sure everything, all the wheels on the bus go round and round. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Sure.
After some discussion, we've decided that today's episode is going to be about habits. What is a habit? In what manner do we generally acquire them? And how do you get rid of one that is not serving you? Otherwise known as a bad habit. So yeah, it's we all have them. We've all had them. I've for sure over the past, I don't know, 10 years have been fighting my way. It's like, having a machete and hacking my way through my list of bad habits.
Bad habits?
Yeah. I mean, it ranges from anything from my level of exercise, the kind of food I eat, the kind of people I hang around with, everything, right? And it's just you have to, the big question you have to ask yourself is your life going the way you want it to? Is your life in alignment with who you think you are? If it is, then cool, there's nothing for you to do. But if it just feels uncomfortable all the time, that's probably an indication of you having some bad habits around how you run your life, and perhaps a little bit of quiet time and introspection is required.
Right. Well, yeah, we talk habits. It's a combination of good habits and bad habits. And you kind of look at your life, and I think when you analyze it and you go, and even it can be a momentary thing, and you do some, introspection, and you look at it and be like, whether it's a daily, weekly, monthly thing, where is my focus? Where is my energy? And is it more on bad things, good things? And then, digging deeper, are those quote habits? And you talk 10 years in my focus, and what kind of brought us together, about 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Been a real focus for me on habits and generating those, recognizing the bad ones first and foremost, and then how do you break those, and trying to create good ones.
Right. Yeah.
That add to your life.
Yes.
And then inherently,
I think you just hit it there. It's are the activities you're engaging in adding to your life in a positive manner? If the answer is no, and it doesn't matter what it is, it's food, it's your doom scrolling behavior, anything you do online, with the way you handle your communications with your life partner, anything, right? When you behave that way, does it add positively to your life?
Right.
If the answer is anything other than yes.
Right. Or is what you're doing distracting from
what you're supposed to be doing?
What you're supposed to be doing, or what you want to get out of your life. And the key in habits, and there's a book by James Clear, and it's called Atomic Habits. And it's a very powerful book, and we've done some study on it in groups that we did. Ironically, the place that I work at now, we have a wellness program, and that was part of 2 years ago when it came out. We did a study in our office, Atomic Habits. And James touches a lot on that. So if anyone gets a chance, I recommend get the book, read it.
It's a good book. It's a
very, very good book. And then he's got, weekly emails and stuff that touches on, but there's so much stuff, but the focus is habits. He focuses much on the deletion of the bad ones and the creation of the good ones. They really go hand in hand.
By
but
definition.
The biggest part of but habits remain, this is having the self-awareness.
Yes.
And really the desire to even want to understand why my life is where it is, good, bad, or indifferent. And
why do I behave the way I do?
Inevitably, you can look at it and say it's because of the habits that I have. And really on a daily basis, when you talk about meals, you talk about workouts, you talk about water intake, you talk about interactions with people, how I interact in conversation. I mean, it all,
Right.
it comes around to the habits that you portray,
Agreed.
you know.
And I think the here's the kicker though, the really interesting part, and I think what people who have an ego that is hell bent on hanging on to habits will identify a habit and continue engaging in those activities anyway. Here's the deal. If you can identify a behavior of yours as a habit, an unconscious habit, you've just made it conscious.
Right?
And that means it's not a habit anymore. If you continue to engage in that activity, you are actively choosing to do that. Therefore, any negative outcomes from that choice is on you. It's no longer I didn't know. You know, you chose,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so it's you have to be self-aware enough and care enough about yourself to sit back and go, yeah, this behavior I engage in all the time whenever such and such happens is not serving me. It's a bad idea. And so you have to, now I'm not saying you can just, kill it in one shot, but being aware of it gives you the opportunity to begin to work step by step by step towards eliminating it and replacing it with something better.
Right.
And what you replace it with has to come from the question, if that's not what I want, what do I want?
Right.
Right? What in my core heart of heart, what do I actually want? Right? If you can answer that question, then your path becomes very clear.
Well, that's it. The key to so much of what goes on is identifying your why. Why do you do everything you do?
Yes.
And how important is that why? And you
Right.
identify that.
You want to kill that?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. That's habits. It's funny. That's real life. It's habits. I've got two phones, but it's always there. And you talked about doom scrolling. You talk about social media. You
Yep.
talk about that right now. That's in society, and we touched a little bit about this last episode. But that's
Yep.
funny that it all goes now. Is do you have a habit?
Mm.
Some people can say it's good, maybe it's bad, but do you have a habit of before you go to bed, are you looking at your phone and are you getting sucked in?
Yep.
And then
Exactly.
is that affecting your sleep? And and I believe James Clear talks about that, like specifically to get rid of that bad habit, you got to create a good habit. There's certain tricks you can do that I'm going to set a timer or I'm going to have my phone that it shuts off and I can't do this anymore. And it's not going to happen immediately. Then it's got to be, and then what you just touched on,
It's
then it's
conscious.
conscious because
It
then when
has
you're
to.
conscious, then you're making the decision.
Correct.
Do I want to improve my life? Do I want to improve my behavior? And the improving of that is going to come
Yeah. What
from
does that
either
look like?
creating good habits or eliminating bad habits.
Yeah. No, I get it. We discussed this in a previous episode. Protect your first hour of the day. Don't look at your phone when you get up. Don't look at your phone before
Yeah.
you go to sleep. Just don't. There's nothing happening out there that's so bloody important that you
Yep.
have to know before you close your eyes at night. That's BS. That
So let me ask you this. And so when did you? Because that's a habit that you have now, and I have the same thing when I
Yeah.
wake up. When did you consciously realize or know that this is what I need to do to improve my life and be most effective, and this is the habit I'm going to create? I mean, just walk us through that real quick. Like when did you
So
say
the
here it
what
is, and how did that kind of evolve for you?
I became, again, this is that thing where once you become aware, you can't say I didn't know
Right.
because you bloody know,
Right.
right? And then so I became aware of the fact that my first activity, even before I sat up in bed, I was looking at my phone, and I thought,
Uh huh.
This can't be good, right?" And
Right.
and I was like, okay, so what's happening here at 6 o'clock in the morning that I have to know about before I even sit up? The answer to that question is nothing.
Right.
Nothing is going on. But we have been enculturated with social media and other things that apps. This we've had
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
literally over a decade of anything you wanted, there's an app for that, right? It's complete nonsense, right? There's nothing going on. And you have to convince yourself that there's nothing going on. But then it's like, okay, well, what else can I do? If I don't look at my phone, what else can I do in that first hour? The answers were really simple. Get up, play with the dogs, greet my wife in the morning, have coffee with my wife, sit and have a conversation. And again, I don't typically look at my phone until my wife leaves for work at 7:30, quarter of 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then I sit at my desk and pick up my phone for the first time. I have to tell you, it's wonderful.
So how long when you identified that and became I mean, how long did it really take you to create that? Really, it's a
Yeah,
daily routine, obviously, for your routine habit that you it's automatic now, and that's what a habit is, and this is a
right. It
good
becomes,
one.
I've made it
I
automatic
mean, was
now,
was
but
it immediate or did you?
no, no, it wasn't. It was initially I was like, okay, well, I have to do this. So I chose to do it. Right. And then the next morning I said, I reached for my phone. And I'm like, nope, but you have to
Hmm.
be aware, right? You have to be aware of yourself and what your ego and your body wants to do automatically. And you have to be able to be sort of cognizant of yourself and
Yeah.
your behaviors. Right. So you have to kind of step outside of yourself and observe yourself.
Right.
That requires some thinking. And so, once you become aware, like I'd reach for my phone and I'd be like, nope, not going to touch it. And I just not going to do it. It took the better part of probably 2 months
Hmm.
of consistent effort on my part to where now I don't even think about it. It's
Sure.
just,
Sure.
it
And then it
just
was
is.
created. What we talk about too, and in the book, and there's other studies too on how long does it take to create a habit or get rid of a bad one,
Yeah.
and time frames. And there's that you can do that. But one of the tricks to doing that, and you were able to do that, and it's simple things. It's instead of your phone, then when you go to bed at night, instead of it right there where you can reach it in the morning,
Put
you
it
put
somewhere
that
else.
phone in the other room. So when you wake up, you can't just because in trying, if it's that addictive and it's that bad,
Yeah.
and once you've identified it's that bad, then you have to do
Yeah.
sometimes
You
a
have to,
little bit extra.
as somebody once told us, if you want to conquer a certain thing, you can't sail up to the beach in boats and then say, "Well, we'll try to take the place." You have to burn the boats to the
Right,
water line. So there is no escape. You have to the only way to complete this is to move forward, right?
right.
And that requires you to care enough literally about yourself to say, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's going to be difficult, but I'm going to do this." And it can be something as simple as, I injured my lower back, not my lower back, but my upper back in an accident, I don't know, a decade ago. And the doctors basically said, look, you're going to walk, in a few years, if you do really good with your therapy and all that, you'll walk with a cane and a pronounced limp. Would you like me to get you a handicap placard? And I was like, no,
No.
bite me with that. But one of the things that happens is that if you're not careful, you buy into that. Even if it's a subtle buy in, there is a buy in. And
Yep.
it wasn't literally until almost 2 years ago now where I decided this is it. When you have to get to the point where you're like, I've had it. I'm done. I got to fix this. Right. Once you get pissed off enough about what you're physically doing every day, you will do something to change it. There has to be motivation there. And I was like, I'm literally turning into a blob. I need to
Hmm.
go to the gym. So I went to the local gym, signed up, and instantly hired a trainer. Been working with her for over 2 years.
Hmm.
I've told you this story before, but I went from not being able to do leg lifts with 70 pounds using both my legs. I couldn't move
Yeah.
70 pounds, right? To the other day, I did an incline squat, 500 pounds.
Wow. But and again, it was
It
creating
was, I had to give a
a
damn about
habit.
myself. Yeah, it's a habit, but
It starts with that, and it starts with your why.
yeah,
Really, no, and it's one of those. And our podcast is Society of Like-Minded Men. We are men that are like, you want to improve your life, you want to be better. You're not going to be the same old.
you
The
can't
word
do it the old way.
you're not going to be the same old blob for the rest of your life. Um, you know,
and my why at that
But
point,
you have to decide that for yourself. And so
yes,
much of society, people are waiting for the magic pill, or they're waiting for the right time, or they're waiting for the right scenario. And the other thing with all of this in habits is you have to first decide you want to do it, and then you have to take action. You have to start, because if you never start, it's never going to happen. And I know that's dumbed down simple, but
no, but it's
I
true.
think I
But
think about so many
that's
things
the beauty
saying
of it. It's the
never
simplicity of
started
that.
it.
The simplicity of that is what catches people out. Everybody wants, as you said, the magic pill or someone to come rescue them. There is no magic pill. Nobody's coming to rescue you. If you want a good life, it's up to you. Go look in the mirror and say, what do I want?
You're responsible for yourself.
100%.
And men these days, and more men need to, and some of it's with age, and there are some in the younger generation, they see that. And you can see that in men.
Yeah,
I mean, women too, but our podcast is about men. But you can see those people and you recognize it in those
absolutely.
people. And I'd like to think that me and you are people now that walk around, and people sometimes can look at you. And
Yes.
not so long ago, 5 years ago, I was one of the guys that was, I mean, I was 55 pounds heavier than I am now. I had just turned 50, was becoming a father for the first time, looking at the generations of my father before me, and
Yeah.
they all died of heart
I-
attacks. And I'm like, I don't want to be it, but I had to consciously, and it was happening 40 years before. And again, growing up, I was athletic in high school, and I played the sports. I got college scholarships, and then I got married. And then the first time, and it was habits that were creating in my life
Yeah.
that I didn't even realize I wasn't conscious about. So then that's what you talk about.
Right.
And that's how it can go off the rails, but it's a slow
It's
time
insidious. It's slow.
progression. But whatever in life, then it hits you. And I don't even really, well, what really hit me was I'm going to be a father for the first time at 50 years old. And I want to live to see
Yeah.
my one and only, grow up.
At the very
Well,
least, you want to see her to
I'm not,
graduate high school.
I'm not going to do it this way. So there was a point where I used to joke to friends, with, man, I'll be lucky to see 40, and then I'll never see 50. Now all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's like because of my why and what it is, I want to live to be 100. Well, the
Yeah.
only way to live to be 100 is create good habits and get rid of the bad habits, which
Correct.
has been now a focus for the last 5+ years.
Yep.
And am not always perfect, and we don't, and you
Nobody
fall,
is.
and
Nobody
they
is.
come. But I can honestly say now in my life, I feel better
Yep.
now as I sit here than I can't remember, because obviously
Mm-hmm.
with age, high school I felt good. I was again athletic and I could do all the things I wanted, but you weren't self-aware. Now I'm self-aware, and now I feel better because I'm doing the things intentionally. Where
Right.
there you just let them happen. Now Ramin, I'm almost intentional with everything I do in
You
life.
have to be. You
You know
have
what I
to be.
mean?
So you have a choice. It's like you can either be a boat with an engine in it and a captain at the helm, and you have to be the captain, or you can be a boat that's adrift, which is what a lot of
Right.
people do. And they
Yeah.
run into rocks, and the boat capsizes and fills with water, and they complain. Well, you could have rowed away from the rocks, right? The reality is that any action you take, any action, however small, moving you forward and away from bad habits is amazing, because it'll be the first step that you can then start building on,
Right.
right? That I wasn't able to move the kind of weights I move now 2 weeks after starting weight training. Hell no. I
No.
was I was just like, oh my God, I let me see if I can walk out of the gym today, right?
Right.
Right. And it's just, you need to, I mean, and here's the thing, when you're younger, it's all about look at me, right? Like, "Ah, I got but when you get older, it really does become a function of what's your why? Why are you doing this? And part of it is because I want to be around the ones I love longer,
Oh, that's it.
right? And I want to do so with an improved quality of life,
Hmm.
right? And and it's always the subtle stuff that people don't talk about. I think I told you this a couple weeks ago. It was just like recently in the last 6 months that I was able to turn around in the shower without holding on to something. You don't think that's important until you can't do it,
Right. No,
right?
exactly. Well, and then, and how many people go through that and
Right.
they just, and I don't know, it's not one to really judge others to do, that
That's not
that's
my
their
job.
life. They live it how they want. And I've learned that too, that it's not my job. And I'm my own biggest critic,
Right.
and most of us are.
Right.
And then it can come to self-deprecation, and then how you think about yourself, even,
Mhm.
there's stuff about manifestation and things like that, but even in habit, you're telling yourself, if you continue to keep doing those bad habits,
Mhm.
you're really telling yourself, I'm not worth, you know, any better than this. And I know that,
Yes,
even
that's
I've
in
not
fact
been a
exactly what you're
smoker.
saying.
I've not been an alcoholic, luckily, and I know there's medical things with addictive personalities, and I get that. And there are pills and things for that, but it's one of those things that it really comes down to, who and what do you really want to be, and why do you want to be that? And if it's
That, yeah.
important enough to
Yes,
you,
agreed.
you will
You'll do whatever it takes.
change the habits. And
Yes.
again, and it's not, some things actually, simple changes, like you said about the phone, that's really not that hard to change. I know we've
No.
already given you suggestion how to do it. If you know that you're stuck on your phone at night, you want to get to bed at 9:30, and all of a sudden it's 10:45, and you've been on. You know how you put the damn phone in the other room. Do it for a week,
Yep.
and you'll see, wow. And
Yeah.
then you'll get 7 8 hours of sleep instead of 5.5, and you wake up refreshed, and you'll be ready to hit the day.
Yeah.
And this is what I found: when you start creating those, they start to
Yeah.
build on themselves. And I call it, there's times in my life, and it ebbs and flows, but I start to gain my mojo,
Yes.
and you get mojo flowing, and then, oh, this
Well,
happened
you
and that
create
happened,
you
and
create your own personal momentum,
yeah,
right? And it's a positive momentum and it makes you feel good and you want more of that, right? And it's just, I told my trainer the other day, I was like, we hit 500 pounds. I want to go for six. I don't care how hard I have to work, but that's what I want to go
yeah,
for because it matters to me now, right?
yep,
It's just there. Yes, there's a reason because I think it'll be cool to be able to do that.
sure,
But
hell yeah,
but at the end of the day, this is about when I'm 80, I won't be in a wheelchair,
right, amen.
right? I won't be sitting in a hallway in a retirement home hoping somebody comes to get me to feed me.
And the only way you're going to get there is to do these things now for
You
then.
you got to bust
But
your butt.
the only way you're going to get to 600 is you've got to continue this habit
Yep.
of going to the gym.
Yep.
You know that. You're self conscious with that. This is the habit I've created.
Yep.
And then once you create those, then that other self awareness, that you know what works.
Yep.
You know what works, and you know what doesn't work. And then it comes down again
Yep.
to you, yourself, and your own personal responsibility to yourself
Correct.
of the habit that I'm gonna. And I mean, there's so there's so much.
There's so much. It's
Everything.
credit card spending. It's
Yeah,
how you manage your money, how you
right.
manage your savings. It's that's when I was younger, I was very 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 successful at getting speeding tickets. Very successful at getting speeding tickets, and I always used to say, "Well, why don't those freaking cops? Don't they have anything else to do?" And then eventually I rounded a corner, and I'm like, I'm the one doing this to myself.
Hmm.
Every time, is one of my favorite sayings is, and it's done with kind of a Cockney accent, is every time I poke myself in the eye, it really hurts. Yes, every damn time. And I was my own worst enemy. But once I came to that realization, there were no further excuses
Right.
possible. The only choice I had to make, as hard as it was at the time, was to do differently. Nothing will change. If you don't do anything different, you will not achieve anything different. Right? So if your tendency, and a lot of people do this, well, I want to be wealthy. Okay, what are you doing to get wealthy? Sitting around the house doom scrolling?
Wow.
That's not going to happen. There's nobody coming to save you. If you want to get wealthy, if you want to get healthy, if you want to anything, really anything, you want to become an airplane pilot, you want to be a motorcyclist, you want to be a photographer, you have to do something to get you there,
Right.
even if it's in small, little, tiny, incremental steps.
And usually anything that's worth having, but I'm kind of a believer in anything worth having is not going to come real easy.
Nope.
And it's not, again, not going to be one, you're going to do one thing and magically it's going to happen.
Nope. There
Or
is
there's
no
a pill
magic.
and magically and then that's where the habit comes in. Then you have to create a habit and you identify what it could be as simple as one thing. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
multiple things, but you identify what these are. And
Right.
then it becomes repetition for a period of time. And it could be as quick as, again, 14 days. It could take a year. And
It
there's
could.
some habits that it took me a year of, but now it's ingrained. I mean, as
Yeah.
simple as 80 ounces of water. I remember for 50 years, Ramin, I think back, there were months in my life that I didn't drink one glass of water. Years.
Yeah.
I was drinking soda. I was
Yeah.
drinking soda, drinking Monsters, drinking Gatorade, but just plain old, pure, clean
Water.
water.
Yeah.
And now this goes with me it's a habit. I created a habit. It's a 40 ouncer. When I wake up in the morning, ice goes in, water goes in, and I carry it where I go. I see it with me where I go, and that's
Yeah.
where the habit, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, I need to take a drink. If I'm going to get my 80 ounces in, and that habit helped my diet. I wasn't as hungry.
Right. Helps
I
your digestion, helps
It
your
helped my
skin.
digestion. I piss a lot more.
That's okay.
It's cleaner. It's I don't drink. I don't drink so in creating a good habit, it got rid of a quote bad habit, which
Yep.
was Monsters and sodas.
Right.
I drink coffee, which
Yep.
you
I
know
drink coffee.
is or get so that's where I get my caffeine, and they call me, I can be squirrel energized with something, and whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, there's a habit. But I don't fill my body with the
Right.
sugars and the sweeteners, and that was I started drinking a soda because I didn't like coffee. I started that in high school because I had a teacher that he would teach the first class of the day, and he was drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And
Mountain
I'm
Dew.
like, wow, how do you drink that so early? And he's like, I don't like coffee, but I need my caffeine. So I go home that day. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, wow, this. So for I don't know how many years. I mean, I woke up and I popped a soda.
Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't, I didn't start drinking coffee till I
Yeah.
was 40. But I was still drinking the soda, and I honestly don't know the last time that I drank
Yeah.
a soda.
I
And I
had a.
got
I
the
had a.
energy drinks are way gone. Because then I quit soda and said, oh, I'm going to drink these energy drinks because they're 0 calorie and they're this. Then you start looking at it and like, that ain't any better. And now it's water and coffee.
Yeah. That's it.
And if
That's
I
all
want
you
a
need.
little flavor, I'll go and I get unsweetened iced tea because I do like iced tea. I brew sun tea in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. And I'm like, that's more than enough to sustain. I don't need that other crap. And I feel just that alone out of my
Mm-hmm.
system.
Makes a
That was
huge
in my
difference.
system for 50 years.
Yeah.
That was one habit of
Yep.
many that I've done, and that's an example of creating a good one. Also got rid of bad ones, and they can
Yep.
be intertwined.
The interesting side effect of that, I, Laura and I don't drink sodas at all, right? And we drink coffee and water. Well, in fact, the joke here in the house is that she drinks green tea. She carries this giant, thing's kind of like yours, and
Yeah.
carries it everywhere with her. And I'm like, do you have your emotional support drink whenever we're going somewhere? But
Hey,
it's what works for her.
if that's your vice, that's not a bad
Yeah,
vice.
that's not bad. But the interesting thing is the side effect of it is when we have people over for dinner or whatever, we're like, oh shit, we don't have anything to give these people because not everybody drinks like us. Everybody still drinks sodas and stuff. I have to go
Right.
buy sodas to give my guests, and then when they leave,
Yeah.
I throw the rest away. But it's a choice we make, right? It's a conscious choice, and it's based on wanting to live longer and spend more time with each other and spend more time with our kids and our friends and our loved ones, and do so in a healthy manner where we can actually engage with them in life. This is it. It's I think
Yeah.
everybody's like, well, what do I replace this habit with? Something better than what you're doing now. And
Yeah.
it's a choice you have to make, and it's going to be hard for certain things. Get over it. You
Yeah.
know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. At some point, you have to care enough about yourself to take that first step.
Yeah. And that's it. And you recognize then when the habit has set in and you know it, when you can go to the refrigerator that's in the garage and there's sodas there and
Mhm.
you can look at them and it's like, no,
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I don't care. I don't want it. You drink it and people are like this and you go to a restaurant and this, their Diet Coke, Coke, this water with lemon.
Yep.
And not to mention that, so there's a compounding habit on that. You know how much money I save now going out to eat by not ordering a soda?
Yeah, I know.
If you calculate all the time and how much, look at the bill next time you go out to eat or someone, if anybody
Yep.
that you go out and look at how much the soft drink
Yes.
costs and how many times you go out to eat over a year. How much did that
Right.
cost you? Where if you just don't, then that compounds into a good habit with your budget because you just saved $3.50 3 times a week. Probably more than that for most people,
Times
even
50.
if you times 52. How much is that
Yeah.
you can put again to
Right.
uh, an account?
It's
You know,
four or $500 a year. That's not chump change, and maybe you think it is, but I don't
it's
think it
not,
is.
but that $400 or $500 could go along to getting something that's not
you know,
sugar sticking to
you
your
you
gut,
could
going
you
down
could
your
you
gullet and
could
making you feel lazy.
you could put that $500 towards something else. I don't know, like maybe
Yeah,
investing in, you know, uh,
right.
some EFTs, the S&P 500
Yeah,
EFTs, because we have a consumer based society, which has been done intentionally, by the way. It's, there's no reason we have all the stuff that we have in our houses. We don't need any of that stuff.
no,
Honestly, we really don't. It's all been a lie, but we've been convinced that we need 80-inch TVs and we need four of them, right? And we need this, that, and the other thing, and all the various things that people buy. If everybody just stopped doing that, during one Black Friday, the economy would collapse, right? The reality is we don't need all this stuff. So here's the question: how much do you spend? This is for you you can answer this. You can comment below if you want and let us know. But how much do you spend annually on shit you don't need?
right. Well,
You know, I know what my answer was, and it was scary. I was like, "Oh, come on, dude, really?" And I made
but
the conscious effort to stop.
the only way you're going to know that though too is you need to create a habit of
Mm-hmm.
a budget. And if you create a budget, whether it's daily or weekly, and you look at that, then
Mm-hmm.
you can see that, and then you know, and then you identify, oh, I don't need to do this, and I don't need to do that, but I
Yeah,
can
and
do this
it's
and that,
there's
and
a difference between need and want, and I think everybody identifies
yeah,
whatever they spend money on as a need.
yeah,
You know what you need? You need shelter, clothing, food.
right.
That's
But
what you need.
end of the day, it's all you need.
Everything else is a freaking want, right?
True,
You don't
true,
need it. You don't need the fancy car. You don't need the fancy clothes. You don't need it's you may want them, and that's up to you. And if you have the disposable income to do that, good on you. But if you don't, stop, think, where can I put this money, or where what do I just like not use the money at all? Why don't I just leave it in my account?
right,
The whole notion that you have to spend people live paycheck to paycheck predominantly because and this is for people who have enough, potentially could have enough disposable income, not people who barely make enough to put a roof over their heads. That's a
right,
different discussion.
yes,
But if you have enough to have disposable income to where you can buy an Xbox and you can buy this and you can buy that, stop. You don't need to. And this is the thing, we all think that our friends will be impressed. maybe for 3 minutes, then that money's gone, right?
Well, that's it. And there's the
You
whole
know,
thing about
do you really
keep
need their approval, right?
keeping up with the Joneses, and how many people spend their whole life
Right.
trying to keep up with the Joneses. And most of the time, when you catch up to that person, that satisfaction, or like you said, that lasts. Oh man, I just bought this house in this neighborhood, and I had an open house and this, and those people come and shit. 2 months later,
Nobody
if
knows you're
they're your
there.
true friends, and if they're those people, they don't really give a crap if you're living in that house or you lived in your parents' house that was
It
built in
doesn't matter. It
1920,
doesn't
and
matter. I think
it
that's the
doesn't
thing.
matter.
That's the thing that we need to impress upon people is that everything you think matters that's superficial doesn't. The things
Slow
that
down,
matter, slow down,
take a really deep breath,
really deep
and
breath.
one of my habits that I've created through all this, and I'm working on this right because is is journaling, and it's been a healthy habit for me,
Right.
James Clear talk. But it's even if it's some days I'll sit and I journal for 15, 20 minutes, and other
Yeah.
times it's 2 minutes. But if I do it daily, which I've worked to become a daily habit, because that's where then you realize that I
Yes.
didn't need to do this. I should have done this. And then
Right.
what did I do? What didn't I do? And the tracking mechanism to change what
Yeah.
is
And I
going
think
on.
one of the things that I learned a long time ago was because we all do things because we think somebody's going to get pissed off at us or whatever. And it's like I finally realized if I don't do this, whatever this is, they're going to what? Say I'm a bad man? Who cares? Why does
Well,
it
yeah,
matter? Why do I care what these people think, right? In the end, it's a function of the like you say, true friends will be there no matter what,
yeah.
right? True
True friends
family members and true
and
friends will
yep,
be there no matter what,
right, right.
right? Everybody else is going to tell you what they think about you and how you live your life, and then they'll bugger off and you'll
Mm-hmm.
never see them again. So
Yeah,
does it really matter?
right.
The answer is no. I'm just going to fill that blank in for you. The answer is no. It doesn't
Yeah,
bloody matter.
yeah.
Go about your life. Sit down quietly, as Tommy says, grab a notebook, start journaling,
Mhm.
and ask yourself the question, what do I, time no object, money no object, if everything was freaking awesome, what do I want in my life? If you don't know that, you're not going to work towards it.
Well, that's it, and
Right? You're
that's
not gonna if you don't know that you want to go to Paris, for instance, you're never gonna do anything to get you there, right?
right.
It's a journey. It's life is a journey. It's not a
Yeah.
destination. So the question is, what's this journey going to be about for you? Where are you trying to go? If you can't articulate clearly, you don't even have to tell anybody else. Just if you can't to yourself articulate where the hell you're going, you're not going to get there because you're
Yep.
never going to do anything to start
I
even in
think
that.
I think that would be in a near podcast that we do,
Hmm.
and talk
Yeah,
about goals, because those go into your whys, and then these habits go into them,
right,
because
right.
to reach those goals, like you said, I want to travel well,
Okay,
there's no magic pill, there's no thing unless you hit the lottery, and that it's like,
right.
what are you going to do on a daily basis?
To get you there,
Habit are you going to create? What good habit are you going to create? Or what bad habit are you going to get rid of? I.e., not ordering soda or not going out. Just go out one less time a week for a
right?
year. That's 52 times that now dinner for two with a soda or wine, or what and you're in California, but Colorado, I mean, anyways, it's expanding like crazy.
Yeah, I know.
$100 for two people.
Oh,
You
easy,
eliminate that
easy,
once a week, so that's
dude.
100. What's 100 times 52? That's $5,200.
Six
Gonna take a
grand.
vacation next year for $5,200 to where
S-
you wanted to go, because you did that.
Six
You
grand is a
did that.
first class ticket somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, and that's because of the habit that. So this next year,
Right?
I'm gonna go out one less time a week, just
Yeah,
one less time a week, and then expand on that habit and say, and when I don't go out, and I thought I was gonna, I'll take that money and I'm going to go put that in a savings account called vacation,
yeah.
and watch at the end of the year,
See where you end up.
man, man. And that vacation you wanted to take for 5 years, I never have the money. I never don't have it. Boom, you got it.
Boom, you got it.
There it
Yep.
is. And
I mean,
it's
it's
it can be dumbed down that simple, but that's
it is,
really
but it is
what
that
it is,
simple. That's the thing
right?
that people, I think
But
people
people don't
overcomplicate.
realize that it's that
People want it
simple.
to be more, that want it to be even simpler, but it's really that simple.
Hmm.
It's the, like when Laura and I go out to lunch, we have to choose because here everything is really expensive, right? If
Yeah.
we go out to lunch, I mean, look, just go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and get yourself a bucket of chicken. By the time you get done paying for that at the drive-through window, it's $75, right? Times, if you even do that once a month, times 12,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, that could add up to quite a bit of money. But people, it's like they because it's happening in small, and this was the insidious part of everything that came after World War II with regard to consumerism and supermarkets and everything was, oh, it's just a little bit, it's just a few dollars a month,
Hmm.
it's just a, and everybody bought into that, which is why we have, I don't know, somewhere like north of several $100 billion in credit card debt in this country.
I
I
yeah.
mean, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. There should be not that nobody should have that much debt on their books, right?
Well, and we're old enough to remember, and I kind of do that. Credit cards were not a thing. The first one really that was ever out was Diner's card. Do you
Diners, I
remember?
remember diners.
Remember that?
I
And
had
you
a
had to
diners
be,
card.
did you? Because you were the elite of the elite back
That's
then.
right.
Because I remember commercials when I was a kid that
Yeah,
Diner beat Diners Club,
right.
and anybody that had that, like you know. And I just read something the other day that some of the small towns, there's still small towns where like they carry credit at the store, and then you come in and pay your bill.
You
That's
pay your
what
bill. That's
that's
what
what credit
credit
was.
is.
But you
That's
had to
what
pay
credit
it
is.
at the 10th of the month. That's what it was. And the consumer is like did this that credit cards. I mean, they hand them out like candy. It's like here.
I was watching a commercial yesterday, and it was by American Express Platinum, and they are marketing heavily to a younger generation
Mm-hmm.
now. They're like, look, you're in your 20s, get yourself an Amex Platinum. You can go anywhere in the world and dine and do this and buy concert tickets, and look at you, how awesome
Mm.
you are. And it's like, dude, you got to pay that back at some point,
Well, I know, but
right?
that's what, yeah. Yeah.
And so it is a choice in life. You need to assume that people coming from large corporations are not there for your benefit,
No, no.
right? So quit buying into their nonsense. And like I said, sit down, as Tommy says, grab yourself a notebook and a pen, cup of coffee, go sit somewhere quiet and ask yourself, what do I want? Where do I want to be in 5 years?
Create that habit.
Yeah.
And if you do it in the morning
Yep.
or do it at night before you go to bed,
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
your notebook or your journal and write down, and even if it's 2 minutes, what did I accomplish today?
What did I accomplish
And
today?
what did I want to get at? What did I accomplish, and what do I want to accomplish? And start there. It's
Right.
simple, basic, easy, and do it every day. Again, do it every day for 30 days, and you will be amazed and you will be surprised
Right.
what what will
And
be
there
created
are a
from
lot
all
of
that.
wonderful habits you can gain. One of them is journaling. The other one is not looking at your phone in the morning and spending time with your family, not looking at your phone at night and getting a good night's sleep, drinking water. There are so many things that you can do,
Parking in the farthest parking spot
and
in the
walking.
grocery store and walking there. And every time you go somewhere, find the farthest spot and go to and walk back and watch and do that for a year. Watch what happens.
Watch what happens. And I think that's it. Everybody wants an instant response and an instant result. You're not going to get an instant result. They don't exist.
No, no.
They don't exist. This isn't a little cup of noodles ramen thing. You're going to have to wait, right? The reality is that you're going to have to start heading in the direction of becoming the person you want to be.
Right.
But here's the cool thing. When you finally get there, you're going to look back and go, man, that was me back there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And with
Yep.
that perspective, then looking forward will be easier because then you'll be like, okay, where do I want to go from here?
Yep.
right? Because you've proven to yourself that you can achieve it, and you can. You just have to choose to make you the priority.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Cool.
I think we've babbled long enough,
We
So
have. It's why I'll wrap it up with this. We said, hey, why don't we do this? And the habit that I created, so I've got some other screens in front of me, but the one on the left, I put the habit that I did, and in my calendar, I have blocked off for me and you.
Yep.
Every week, whether we
Yep.
do this,
Me too.
I've got that time, and I
Yep.
identified, and this was important enough to me to say where it goes and what it does. Who knows? Who knows what this will? But it's a habit that I've committed to.
Yep. Exactly.
And honestly, I'm excited in my life, even if it's just me and you for the next year or two, that we get a ramble and you share ideas on the things it creates. It's cool. And it's really that simple for everybody. If you want to do something and you think it's important enough,
do it.
Do it. Just do it. Start it. Because if you talk about it and you think about it and you wonder about it, but you don't take any action and you don't start, I do know this for a fact. It's never going to happen.
Correct.
So with that, man, I love you, brother, and appreciate you. You know that. And whatever it is, hopefully, this society reaches out to a few men around the country, world. And I'm excited for some of the things we talked about. At some point, we're talking about bringing some guests in and friends from all over that have really done some really cool things in their life. They've come from some crazy places, and they are not just surviving, but now they're thriving.
They're thriving. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to be. I'm excited to see where this podcast goes, simply to see if it has a positive impact on someone's life.
Yeah, right. And if it has a positive impact on even just one other person besides me and you,
done. Done.
Because that's what is a big part of life now, and relationships and what's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Till next time, brother. I appreciate you.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Okay, cool.
Talk to you soon. Bye.